Hello, I'm Joseph Dillard. In the last video in this series on ending family nightmares, I discussed how arbitrary our family scripting is. In this one, I want to point out some of the ways our familial scripting creates our sense of self, how we become addicted to that identity, and how that creates a fundamental barrier to our happiness and developing healthy relationships throughout our lives. We develop our sense of who we are as an adaptive strategy to relate to the world, grow, and stay in control. Maintaining control creates and maintains our identity, and a strong sense of who we are helps us stay in control. Therefore, our most fundamental addiction, besides our identification with our sense of who we are, is to staying in control. Once we are in control, we can appear to give it up, as in the grace of a ballerina or figure skater or an athlete or improvising musician. But the reality is that what looks natural and effortless is built on relentless training, which is all about maximizing control. Dreams can easily threaten our sense of control, and therefore our confidence that we know who we are. We conveniently forget that we regularly and normally do all sorts of abusive things to ourselves and others in our dreams. Who is that persecuting nightmare monster if not ourselves? We threaten, confuse, fight with, persecute, and victimize other dream characters, and therefore ourselves. No wonder we typically forget and ignore our dreams. Such threats to our identity and sense of control over our lives are not limited to our dreams. We know just how malleable our sense of self is from Zimbardo's famous prison experiment in 1971 at Stanford, demonstrating that normal people can, in just a few hours, be made to abuse and even torture other people. Milgram shock experiments, which have been duplicated, they verify those findings, demonstrating that some 2/3 of all of us will shock another person to death if someone in authority tells us that it is for a good cause. We also have the example of Patricia Hearst being quickly turned into a gun-toting robber by the SLA, and of average people committing mass suicide at Jonestown. We have likable, very normal George W. Bush executing people as governor of Texas and the ordering of the torture of people. Constitutional scholar, amiable, charismatic Barack Obama ordered drone assassinations on Tuesday mornings, and in the evening went upstairs and hugged his kids. The thought that we may not be who we think we are or have the degree of control over our lives that we are convinced we have can be extremely threatening to our sense of self. We cling to our uniqueness, to the irrational belief that somehow we are different or special and would never do that. We tell ourselves that those people were crazy or brainwashed or weak, anything to assure ourselves that we would never be like them. We do much the same thing when we fly into a rage or say and do things that we later regret. We think, it wasn't me. We say, I didn't know what I was doing. We must be temporarily insane. Are we temporarily insane when we yell at, lie to, or threaten those we love? In retrospect, perhaps. Then we, like Nazis at Nuremberg, say that those who we were in those times, in those events, somehow we were not real, and that we were in something more like a dream state. Homeowners, mortgage officers, bankers, investors, traders, and politicians alike were all complicit in the collapse of the world economy in 2008, but none were at fault. We were all victims of a cultural dream, delusion, and nightmare in which we mechanically but willingly carried out our social roles for personal, group, and financial reasons. That same scenario was repeated in the 2020s when everyone could predict societal collapse, but few, if any, were not complicit in it. Yet, at such times, when common sense, reality, and our sense of who we are is stretched to the breaking point, at the moment, who we are, what we think and feel, and what we do is real, even in a dream. It was not a dream. It was who we chose to be. This is critical because our dreams kill us. Sleepwalking kills us. Being asleep at the wheel of life kills us. Worse, we end up hurting those we love the most. All of the videos in this curricula can be found on integraldeeplistening.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time.